Hello everyone, my dear gossip addicts. Welcome back to the channel that digs deeper than the tabloids and uncovers the raw, bleeding heart of the Turkish entertainment industry. Stop whatever you are doing right now, pull your car over to the side of the road, silence your phone, and hit that subscribe button immediately because the Yemin, the promise, legend has just ended not with a happily ever after, but with a public humiliation that will be talked about for decades. We have seen breakups, we have seen cheating scandals, and we have seen fights, but we have never, ever seen a level of delusion quite like this. If you are one of the millions of fans still lighting candles for a Gökberk Demirci and Özge'S reunion, I am sorry to tell you that you need to blow out those candles and throw away the matchbox. Last night, at the lush Sirigan Palace Hotel, Gökberk Demirci didn't just crash an event, he crashed his own reputation. He interrupted Özge'S major career announcement with a surprise wedding attempt that was so awkward, so terrifying, and so tragic that security had to intervene. Yes, you heard me right. This is not a drill. The Amir and Reyhan fairy tale is officially a horror movie. Let's set the scene because the context is vital to understand the magnitude of this disaster. Yesterday evening, Özge'S was holding a high-profile press conference to announce her new role as the brand ambassador for a global French jewelry house, a deal rumored to be worth $1 million. The room was packed with the elite of Istanbul, journalists, fashion editors, wealthy socialites. Özge looked absolutely breathtaking in an emerald green satin gown, looking every bit the superstar she has become since leaving the daily soap world. She was standing at the podium, smiling, holding a microphone, about to unveil the new collection. And then, the double doors at the back of the ballroom slammed open. The sound was so loud it echoed like a gunshot. Heads turned. Cameras flashed. And there he was. Gökberk Demirci. But he wasn't wearing a tuxedo to support his ex. He was wearing a white groom suit, yes, a full white wedding suit, and he was dragging a terrified-looking man in a suit by the arm. That man was an official wedding registrar. Witnesses say the room went deadly silent. You could hear the ice melting in the champagne buckets. Gökberk looked disheveled, sweaty, and manic. He marched down the center aisle, pulling the registrar with him, staring directly at Özge with an intensity that made people uncomfortable. He ignored the security guards who were too stunned to react initially. He walked right up to the stage, climbed the stairs, and stood in front of Özge, who had frozen in shock, her hand covering her mouth. He grabbed the microphone from the podium, interrupting her speech, and shouted to the room, "Everyone stop. There is no jewelry launch today. Today is the day we fulfill the promise." Yamin was not just a show, Özge. It was a vow before God. You cannot run from destiny. I brought the registrar. I have the witnesses. We are getting married right now, right here, and we are ending this separation nonsense. Can you imagine the second-hand embarrassment? Can you imagine the horror? He genuinely thought that this grand, aggressive gesture would be romantic. He thought she would melt, cry tears of joy, and say yes in front of the cameras. He was living in a delusional script where he is the romantic hero who stops the plane, or in this case, the press conference. But Özge'S is not Reyhan anymore. She is not the submissive village girl who cries in silence. She is a powerful woman. The shock on her face quickly turned to cold, hard fury. She didn't step back. She didn't run away. She stepped forward, took the microphone back from his trembling hand, and delivered a monologue that destroyed him. With a voice that was steady and sharp as a diamond, Özge said, "Gökberk, look around you. This is not a set. There is no director here to yell cut. This is my life. And in my life, you are not the hero. You are the villain who refuses to read the ending. We broke up 2 years ago. I have moved on. I have healed. I have built a career without you. How dare you come here in a white suit and try to hijack my success? How dare you think you can force me into a marriage just because you are lonely? This isn't love. This is narcissism. You didn't come here to marry me. You came here to own me. And I am not property." The room gasped. It was the most brutal public rejection in history. But Gökberk didn't stop. He fell to his knees, literally on his knees on the stage, and held up a ring box. "But I love you," he screamed, tears streaming down his face. "I forgive you for everything. I forgive you for leaving. Just sign the paper." "You forgive me?" Özge laughed, a dry, humorless laugh. "You forgive me for escaping a toxic cycle?" "Gökberk, get up. You are embarrassing yourself. And you are embarrassing the memory of what we once had." Then, the final twist happened. A man who had been sitting in the front row, a tall, handsome man in a dark navy suit, stood up. He didn't rush the stage aggressively. He walked up calmly, exuding power. This was Hakan Savansi, not the famous one, but a wealthy businessman cousin of the same name who has been rumored to be dating Özge secretly. He walked onto the stage, stood between Gökberk and Özge, and placed a protective hand on Özge's back. He looked down at Gökberk, who was still kneeling, and said calmly, but loud enough for the mics to catch, "Mr. Demirci, the lady asked you to leave. If you don't stand up and walk out right now, my security team will carry you out. And unlike the hotel security, they won't be gentle." Gökberk looked up at this new man, this symbol of Özge's new life, her new status, her new safety, and realized he had lost. The registrar, seeing the situation was volatile, ran off the stage and fled the ballroom. Gökberk stood up, shaking. He looked at Özge one last time, waiting for a sign of pity. She just turned her head away and looked at Hakan. Defeated, Gökberk dropped the ring box on the floor. It bounced with a hollow sound and walked off the stage. Hotel security escorted him out the back door while the cameras clicked furiously. The aftermath was chaos. The jewelry launch was obviously overshadowed, but the brand executives were reportedly impressed by how Özge handled the situation. She took a 5-minute break to compose herself, drank a glass of water, and returned to the podium. She apologized to the guests and said, "Sometimes, the past tries to knock on the door very loudly. But we have changed the locks. Let's talk about diamonds." She finished the event like a true professional. However, the legal fallout has already begun. This morning, Özge Yagai's lawyers filed for a restraining order against Gökberk Demirci, citing harassment, public disturbance, and emotional distress. They are also reportedly suing him for damages to the event, as the wedding crash stunt caused a media frenzy that distracted from the brand's message. Gökberk, on the other hand, has gone radio silent. His Instagram account has been deactivated. Friends say he is in a state of shock, unable to comprehend that his grand romantic gesture was perceived as a psychotic break. He is reportedly staying at his parents' house, refusing to see anyone. The Yemin fandom is in ruins. The fans who pushed for this reunion are now realizing that their pressure might have contributed to Gökberk's delusion. They fed his fantasy that they belong together, and he acted on it in the worst possible way. This story is a tragic example of main character syndrome. Gökberk Demirci forgot that a relationship takes two people. He thought that if he just wanted it enough, if he just performed love loudly enough, the universe would bend to his will. But Özge Yagai showed him, and all of us, that a woman's no is a complete sentence. It doesn't mean try harder, it means it's over. The contrast between the two is stark. Özge is moving up, global brands, new boyfriend, class, dignity. Gökberk is spiraling down, public scenes, denial, living in the past. It is the end of an era. The promise, Yemin, is broken, not because Özge didn't keep it, but because Gökberk tried to turn it into a chain. My dear friends, this story has left me absolutely breathless. It is sad, it is scary, but it is also empowering. Özge Yagai stood on that stage and defended her freedom against a man who thought he could claim her with a white suit and a registrar. She is the queen of the week, no doubt. I need to hear your voice on this because the internet is divided. Some people are actually feeling sorry for Gökberk, saying he just loved her too much. Others are calling him a stalker who needs therapy. Where do you stand? Was this romantic or creepy? And what do you think about Özge's new mystery man who stepped in to save the day? Is he the real deal? Let me know in the comments below. I want to read every single opinion, every debate. Don't forget to like this video to support Özge'S bravery. Subscribe to the channel because we will find out who the new boyfriend really is, and hit that bell icon. The wedding is cancelled, the groom is evicted, and the bride is wearing emeralds. Until next time, leave the past in the past. Goodbye.